This is an installation video of the Safeway hydraulic scale for forklift trucks.
The installation of the Safeway hydraulic scale is very simple and can be done in just a few hours. In the box you will find the following parts. It is recommended that a forklift mechanic with an understanding of hydraulics and electrical connections perform the installation. The transducer is the first part to install. It detects the change in hydraulic pressure with a load on the forks. It must be placed between the hydraulic lift valve and the hydraulic cylinder. In most cases, a hydraulic T-piece must be installed in the hydraulic line so that the transducer can be installed. The transducer can also be drilled and tapped into a fitting. Remove the hose that feeds the hydraulic cylinder. Then attach the hydraulic T-piece fitting to this line. Tighten both sides while ensuring the fitting and transducer will not obstruct the normal operation of the mast. Attach the hydraulic line to the transducer.
At the other end of the transducer is an electrical wire that will connect to the weigh scale monitor. Now install the weigh scale monitor on the lift truck where the operator can easily read it but does not hinder their view. Connect the labeled wires from the transducer to the matching wires on the display unit. An insulated solder joint for each wire is recommended to ensure reliability and minimize risk of fault. Now connect the power source from 12 volt DC to 48 volt DC. It is best to key activate it so it does not drain the battery while the forklift is not operating. Insert the fuse line on the red line or the positive. Protect the connections with heat shrink or electrical tape. Check the display unit to make sure there is power coming to it. Now take the two stickers. The long rectangular sticker goes on the vertical fixed mast around 5 feet high. The smaller one goes on the center lift assembly. This tells the operator to lift the load to number 1 and then lower the load to number 2. This provides a more accurate pressure reading for the transducer.
To get into the calibration mode, we must have the scale off. Hold your thumb on the weigh button, power on the unit, and hold it down until the pound symbol is on the screen. Then you can release. You are now in calibration mode. Using the total button, choose pounds or kilograms. Once you have your desired choice, press the 0 button to get to the next setting. When setting the capacity of the lift truck, you can use the arrow buttons to move the digit over and change the digit to the capacity of the truck. Please ensure that the capacity is exact that is mentioned on the capacity plate of the truck. Once the desired capacity is entered, press the 0 button to the next setting. The next setting is setting the increment values. The default setting is increments of 10 pounds. You can change the increments by pressing the total button and scrolling through all the values. I suggest keeping it at 10-pound increments. Once it's selected, hit the 0 button to get to the next setting. Once you are into the next setting, it will say unload. This is the 0 cycle setting. So with the empty forks, they're supposed to be raised to the number 1 decal on the mast and lowered to the number 2 decal, ensuring that the forks do not touch the ground. Once you have raised and lowered the forks, hit the 0 button to get to the next setting. The next setting is our test weight value. Using the arrows, scroll over to the digit and change the digit to the appropriate test weight. In this case, we will be changing it to 2,440 pounds. Please ensure the exact test weight value is entered in this section. Once the value is entered, press the 0 button to get to the next setting. The display will now say load. In this case, we are now going to lift the test weight and again raise to the number 1 on the decal and lower to number 2 to weigh the actual weight. Once you've risen and lowered the forks to weigh the load, hit the 0 button and you will get the pass notification. It will show the capacity, and after a few seconds, we'll get to the dots. You are now calibrated and ready to weigh your loads. You are now ready to weigh your load. To test to make sure that the calibration has worked successfully, you can now weigh your load, again raising to the number 1 decal, lowering to the number 2 decal, and hitting weigh. You should get a value that's extremely close to the test weight.